everybody! I know no one's on yet. They're dealing with the ice and snowstorms that are playing havoc back east, Midwest and the East Coast. Uh, I'm sorry. Still trying to wake up here. Um, anyway, I hope all is well. It is 44 degrees this morning, or this afternoon. Warmed up quite a bit since yesterday. We didn't get anywhere above 35 yesterday. It was cold. So, and of course I have the heat on in my office and in my living room and the bedroom because I'm trying to keep Cyrano warm and everything. Let me scoop further here. Loki, I'm going to need you to move. Loki, I'm going to need you to move. I got Loki's stuck on my back. Hey, what are you doing? Huh? Hey, Dorothy. There we go. There we go. Okay. So anyway, I hope everything's well. I'll do an announcement later in my today's video. As of yesterday, this happened late yesterday, according to Christoph Amelos and, got a shock from Cyrano, Loki. And according to Stephen Colbert, George Santos resigned from his 2 committee assignments. He dropped on them, and apparently he knows he's in deep doo-doo. He's in deep trouble. So I don't know who they're going to replace to take those seats or not. Apparently he meant to have a discussion with McCarthy. And he didn't really I don't think he really wanted to be in the 2 high-profile committees. Science and space exploration, one committee he was supposedly on, and there was another one that he's on. So he resigned from 2 of those. And really, I think he should just resign from Congress altogether. I think he's way over his head on that one. And of course, as of right now, today, President Biden's vacation home over in Delaware is being searched for documents and everything else. And this is cooperation through the president and through lawyers and everything. And there was a comment made, if you think this was being planted, somehow the buildings were broken into and the items were planted. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? You know, he says normally his staff is very meticulous to make sure everything is sent to the National Archives, because by the Presidential Records Act, is sent over there. And then all of a sudden they find all by themselves these documents. So how did they get there? And who put them there? That's the big thing. So he's doing full cooperation. He wants to find out too. He wants to know what's going on there too. People forget that President Biden used to be a federal prosecutor in Delaware, the state of Delaware. And so he knows what's what. And so he's like, hey, I need to find out why this is going on. So, we're, I'm okay with it. He's okay with it. And he's just to get it, find out why this is happening. Um, Also today, President Biden and so-called, I call him so-called because he acts like a so-called. Hey Nancy! Hi! How are things in Ames, Nebraska? Yeah, none was found at the beach house. So, it looks pretty secure. It's a pretty beach house, pretty place. Um, I'm envious. I like, you know, have maybe a home right along the shoreline and everything else. Um, but anyway, yeah, New York Times. What? It was the Washington Post that printed that story. Nice. 18 degrees. That's still kind of cold. Yeah. It's up here. It's 44 degrees and sunny up here, Nancy. Here in the Pacific Northwest. So, I saw some chickadees and a pair of barn swallows that are here. And they're checking out the eaves up here along my building, right up here, uh, for places to put their nests. And they were having a thorough discussion. Okay, should we set up here or we should set up somewhere else? You know, type thing. So they want to make sure their eggs stay away from predators and everything. So, and my cat was watching them. So anyway, President Biden and Speaker McCarthy, so-called Speaker McCarthy, that's why I call him, they're meeting today to discuss the debt limit issue and explain to McCarthy is it by law or, you know, it's always been that the Congress always raised the debt limit. He says you never know what's going to happen, whether it affects us here or affects us around the world, that type of thing. We already paid on the money. It's just raising it, and I assume probably President Biden told him, he says, you don't want to go in default. You don't want to cause economic havoc. It's just not a good idea. It affects everybody and everything. So we'll find out how that meeting went today. Vice President Kamala Harris was down at Tyree Nichols' funeral today, and she did eulogy for them, for the family, and she said she can't understand why the police officers there that were supposed to serve and protect attack one of their own, the black community. Because the police officers that attacked him were also black. And I don't like putting race into it, but they do it each other too. And so do we. So, you know, apparently those 4 police officers belonged to a very elite unit in Memphis, or they were, I don't know if they were secretive, but sort of similar to the dirty cop corruption called the Blue Line. And decided to attack the guy. They don't know if it's random or what the thing went on. Apparently, Tyree knew this one of the officers' ex-wife, knew this one of the police officers is his ex-wife, and Tyree knew her. And he was helping her out and everything. And apparently this officer had some serious domestic issues. Also, those officers had a lot of ticks against the record for regulation violations, that type of thing. So now ultimately they've been fired. And also they're going to probably be indicted and sent to the pokey. So, because what they did arbitrarily, that's murder. Assault and murder, and it's right there on video. And I think that when they did this, they forgot that the security camera was there. Because also it had audio on that system on that security camera. And it was being heard how they're going to set their story up and everything else. Well, needless to say, the Memphis police chief was not very happy. And that's when those guys were promptly fired. No review, no suspension or anything else. They've been fired. And so, enough was enough. And that so-called Scorpion unit that those guys belonged to was disbanded. Was banned. It all depends on the area where you live, depends on how well your police department is run. We don't have that problem here in Lakewood Police Department. I talked to the sergeant here, that also our community officer here, that he patrols our building area here and everything. I asked him about that. He says, no, our chief would not put up with something like that, ever. He says, you have nothing to worry about. He says, we have a small black population here, and they have nothing to worry about. We do have some black police officers. We do have Asian police officers. Very professional guys. One of them that I knew, he was on calls down on my old apartment complex. And I remember coming home from one day from work, walking in, there was a whole bunch of police cars there and everything. And he knew me by name. He says, hey, he says, do you know any about any robberies or assaults or anything coming up? And I said, no, when did it happen? I asked him when it happened, and he told me last night about around 5:30. I said I was still at work. I didn't get home until 6:30, and I took the bus. And I said, as far as anything assaults or anything that's going on, and I said, I don't know when those occurred. And he says, well, some of them were at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. I said, with my hearing aids out, I can't hear a thing unless it's very, very loud. He goes, oh, okay. He says, well, just make sure your doors and windows are locked. And I said, yeah, they are. And I told him I'm looking at moving out of here too. So this is my old apartment complex at Brookside. I'm so glad I'm not there anymore. They said they've been having a lot more domestic issues, a lot more crime issues in that area now. They thought they had it cleaned up, but it's still an ongoing problem. So really what they should do is have I think that apartment complex should be torn down and gotten rid of, and a police station put in there in its place. And it's sort of funny with petty criminals and career criminals. When they pick on a neighborhood, for example, like, when I lived in Roy, in our neighborhood, well, down below our neighborhood, we lived up on a hill. This is in east of Roy, town of Roy, which is that way. We lived up on a hill, it's called Lancamas Valley area. And at that time I owned a double wide Well, right below the hill there is a uh, like an older uh, trailer park, and they were having all kinds of rash of drug and breaking issues. Well, those guys, they have a gang of kids or small gang, would come up and start stealing from above people that lived up above the hill. Well, one time there was a break-in. Our neighbor's car was broken into right on their property. Well, they had security lights and everything else. Well, also the same person tried to get on her boat and take the outdrive off her boat. Well, they got caught. Uh, and of course, one of my neighbors disabled the guy's car because he came up from the neighborhood below. Disabled his car so he couldn't get away. Well, in drove in our state trooper who lives right across the street from us, and he called a friend who is in the Pierce County Sheriff's Department. This is before the laws changed. This was like 20, 30 years ago. And they arrested those guys for breaking and entering, public destruction, trespassing, you name it. The whole neighborhood threw the book at them. And they also during that, they also stumbled upon a motor outdrive theft ring. And people take outdrives off of boats. Well, they tried to take one off our boat, but our boat was set up differently. You have to put the thing in neutral in order to release the outdrive motor. If you don't, you can't get it out. Anyway, Ron, of course, we had it fixed, and filed a report, had it fixed, took to the shop, because we were going to go out on the water that weekend. That's when Ron discovered it, and needless to say, we were not happy. Why people do that, I don't know. You think they would know better. I mean, how would they handle it if it was done to them? Type thing. Now, on to another juicy little tidbit. You know, Bobert? Well, she went into her first committee hearing today. And her plan was to blame the victim, mainly the COVID victims, and thinking that they were did fraud and everything else, and including all the other stuff. She didn't do her homework very well. Including she didn't understand the fact that the vaccines were bought with government money to combat this pandemic. And she went on a tirade about that, and the Democratic representative on that committee slammed back at her really well. He said, "You don't blame the victim. You were blaming the victims of COVID here in the United States, and that's what you're doing. You didn't want to follow the rules, did you?" And he said, "We were required to get our vaccinations, required to follow health procedures and everything else to stay safe." And he says, "What part you don't understand?" And even the committee chairman was like, "Yeah, I feel sorry for the committee chairman." I don't know who the chairman is, or what. I think he's Democratic chairman, high ranking. Because really there's no high ranking GOP chairmans in there much anymore. Many of them retired or did not choose to run again. So anyway, she got slammed for it, and all the COVID programs, those COVID programs were necessary. And $560 million went toward that, and that is not fraud. That is legally being spent to help everybody. So, the lady needs to she needs to crawl back to her office and do some studying, do her homework, and stop all this radical crap that she's doing. Frankly, I think she should be booted off the committee. I really do. I think this is the committee they did for trying to investigate all the COVID thing and all this other crap. People just... She needs to go on more, let's say, again, she just needs to do her homework. Now, my next thing I'm going to talk about, what do you guys think, sorry, my computer's going nuts here. What do you guys think of me changing my show title from... Yeah, he did. Oh, by the way, I forgot to put that on my news thing. Yes, he did retire. And I was going, good. I'm glad he does. I wish Aaron Rodgers would retire. Yeah, I hope it's for good and not for the stunt that he pulled last year. He should have retired last year, really. Anyway, what do you guys think? I want your opinions. I'm changing my show title from Ginger's Rant Show to Ginger's Chat Show. What do you think of having a new title called Ginger's Chat Show? C-H-A-T. And what your opinion, since you're my loyal viewers. I don't know what, Nancy, I don't know what she would want Rogers. I really do. He has at times, I think Rogers has very poor sportsmanship issue, which he does. Of course, you know, in 2 weeks, a week from this Sunday will be the Super Bowl. And of course, you have the Pro Bowl. Doesn't? Okay. What do you think, Nancy? The word rant seemed to turn people off, I think. I don't know if it does, or you think it does. Okay. I might change to Ginger's Chat Show, because that's what I'm doing. I'm chatting about various issues or current events that's happening. I'll change to that, and I'll do that on my YouTube. It's a little bit better, so it's not rant. Yeah, and just make it more of a talk, talk about anything under the sun type thing that's going on. And I'm glad to see in the committees that many of the Democrats are slapping the GOP back to the Stone Age on a number of stuff. And I've forgotten the name of the guy who slapped her back and said, no, you don't blame the victim. The money was there. It was spent. It was a bipartisan effort, but at that time the pandemic was getting worse. People were getting sick. A number of our own were getting sick from COVID, and luckily a lot. Well, we lost what, one or two to COVID in the Congress. So uh, you know, anyway, okay, it's 1:26. I need to get my eyes shut. Okay. Alright, well, good. I will do that. I'll change it to Ginger's chat show. And, hope to get more, viewers. Because people just don't really like the word rant that well. When you think of rant, uh, yeah, I watched a little bit of it too, Carol. I was having some internet issues here, but yeah. Uh, Reverend Sharpton was right in many ways what he was talked about. And that's the part he said he couldn't understand either. So anyway, oh Carol, I want your opinion about something. What do you think of me changing my show title from Ginger's Rant Show to Ginger's Chat, CHAT Chat Show? What do you think of that? Because I'm trying to bring more viewers in. I need more shares. So anyway, think about it, let me know, flash me a note, whatever. Check out my, oh, and I got my thing fixed on my store. Yeah, okay, good. Alright, and be sure to check out my store, gingerstoreandmore.com. If you want anything, any kitchen items or anything, since now that Bed Bath & Beyond is closing its stores, I don't know if you have any of that in your areas, that store in your area, for kitchen stuff and everything, kitchen, bedroom, and bath. So anyway, okay, well, I will see you guys later. Hope you have a wonderful hump day, and stay well, stay safe. Be sure to insist, persist, and push back. And I will talk to you all later. See you on, sorry. See you on Friday. Okay? Love you all. Bye-bye.